Actually, I was itching to say a few things. And what Rajit said. So if you were to look at from a hyperscaler perspective, for me or for hyperscalers like us, what's important is to have sustainable, uninterrupted power, which I think everybody agrees on, right? So it doesn't matter for me whether I set it up in India or I set it up in Vietnam or I set it up in Thailand. In fact, we announced cloud regions in Thailand. We announced Malaysia, where we did it in Vietnam. So I'm saying we're doing multiple of these because we feel that there is that availability of uninterrupted power from different power sources to ensure and I think sir talked about the fact that you know zero time downtime, right? We can't afford it. So having said that, but what is happening in India, and this is important from this context perspective, I think there's a huge amount of impetus from the government towards AI. Recently, India AI Mission announced that they've just awarded contracts and block capacity worth 18,000 GPUs, right? So these GPUs are obviously installed in some data centers which are going to be consumed by the government. The government is funding actually. They've set aside a budget of total about 10,300 crores, out of which just on this project, they're going to spend close to about 4,500 crores, right, over a period of time. So that's one. The second is, and I think Razik also touched upon that, I think there's a latent demand of AI at the edge, right? And that is another area where a lot of the new people are investing. So just to give you an example, Railtel, which is the PSU under Government of India, signed off an MOU to set up 102 edge data centers, right? And there are other entities that are who've already announced that they want to do that. So when I talk about edge, you're also talking about having uninterrupted power beyond the 8, 9 top cities, which is what we were talking about, in these specific locations. Now, everywhere, either there has to be uninterrupted power, and you have to have multiple sources of power. Now, those multiple sources of power is where the convergence can happen. And I think that's where, from a policy framework, so there is one which is the grid power, then there is one which is the renewable power that we're talking about, and then obviously there is gas that we're talking about, which could eventually become the third source of power to ensure that uninterrupted supply is available, even at the edge. And actually, the edge becomes more critical because they are built with a specific purpose of ensuring that low latency compute is happening at the edge itself rather than the whole data traveling back. So that's how we're also trying to reduce the burden on the central infrastructure and moving it to the edge, right? So those are some of the factors. I was having a conversation with someone, but there are countries in the Indian subcontinent who have a single source of power today, and because of which people like us or even other players have not set up large-scale hyperscaler or other data centers because availability of a single source of power, which does not permit them to set up a data center and operate it. Because of which these countries, and I'm talking about a whole nation, right, is not able to have the infrastructure where they can build or deploy AI compute and then build their own models. So we're fortunate that in India at least we're at that stage where we have that uninterrupted power from different power sources and we have the infrastructure available. Yes, we may not be at the level of the US, but I think the journey has just begun and opportunity and potential with the kind of population that we have can be massive.